All right. Good morning, class. Today we are doing PO3. So we're doing another power objective. Now remember, those power objectives are the ones that we need to make sure we master it. If we get it wrong on the test, we have to retake it to pass it so we can move on next year. This is important because all math builds on itself. So this is one of our important building blocks that we need to understand. Today we are going to be doing I can multiply and divide integers. Remember what those integers are. Positive and negative numbers that are not decimals or repeating. They're not decimals that they're not any decimals, and they're not any fractions. So just that whole number could be positive or negative. So we're going to be talking about the rules for when we multiply and divide with positive and negative numbers. If you have mastered your multiplication and division facts, if I say what is 6 times 3 and you know it's 18, you've mastered those facts. If I say what's 7 times 5 and you can't immediately say, oh, it's 35, you might want to practice those multiplication facts at home. Okay? Makes math go a lot quicker to do our homework when we have those facts memorized. You've been working on multiplication facts for years now. Usually it's a third grade thing that you start learning multiplying. Okay. So if you don't have them quick at your fingertips, just say, hey, you know what? I need to start practicing them a little bit. Remind myself 3 times 4 is 12. 5 times 9 is 45. 9 times 8 is 72. It'll make your math go a lot quicker. All right, I'm not testing you on your multiplication facts, but you do need to come up with the right answer, and it'll be a lot easier if you know your facts. So now what we need to focus on is multiplying or dividing negative numbers. We need to look at the sign your product or quotient will have. So if we're multiplying, the answer is your product. When we're dividing, our answer is our quotient. So we need to think, is it going to be a positive or a negative answer? So here's the chart that we're going to fill in. Everybody has to fill this in. It will help you with this lesson. If we have a positive number, positive integer, and we're multiplying or dividing by another positive, our answer will be, anybody know?
Positive.
It will be positive. If we have a positive integer and we multiply or divide by a negative integer, anybody know what our answer will be? Will it be positive or negative, Melina?
Negative.
It will be a negative. If we have a negative integer and we multiply or divide by a positive integer, what do you think our answer will be, James?
Positive.
Good guess. Let's try again.
Oh, negative.
It's going to be negative because we have one negative and one positive. Here we had a positive and a negative. Here we have a negative and a positive. Our answers will be negative because we have unlike terms. When we have that one of our integers is positive and one is a negative, it doesn't matter the order. If one is positive and one is negative, the answer will be negative. So it could be negative times a positive, it could be positive times a negative. If they are unlike, if they are not the same, your answer will be negative. Positive and a positive, our answer was a positive. What do you think happens if we have a negative and a negative. I want you to pause and think. If they were unlike a positive and negative or a negative and a positive, our answers were negative. But if we have a positive and a positive, our answer is a positive because they are the same terms. So Melina, we have a negative and a negative, they are the same terms. Unlike terms, our answer is negative. If it's the same terms, our answer is going to be positive. So it seems like a negative and a negative would be negative because they're all negatives. But if they're the same term, it's going to be a positive answer. So that's the one that confuses a lot of people because you see those negatives, you think the answer will be negative. But if they're both negative, it turns the answer positive. So if they're both the same, positive, positive, or negative, negative, our answer is going to be positive. If they are different, positive, negative, negative, positive, our answer will be negative. So if they're different, the answer will be negative. If they're the same, the answer will be positive. Different, negative. Same, positive. So now we're going to summarize this table using your own words. So I'm going to write what I just said. Same signs, not terms, same signs. Answer is positive. Different signs. Answer is negative. So if they are the same sign, our answer will be positive. If they are different signs, our answer will be negative. So when we look at our math problems and we see they're all positive, it's easy. That's just the math that we've always been doing, right? Positive, positive is the easiest one. We've been doing this for years. When we see negative signs, that's when we have to stop and think before we do our math. You're going to write down what the sign is going to be for the answer. Okay. So let me show you what I mean. Does everybody have this written down? Can I erase it?
No.
Okay. So I'm going to work down low right here. I see positive 5 and a positive 6. So my answer is going to be positive. So I don't have to write that plus sign if it's positive. We just know that if there's no sign, it's positive. So if I see no signs, I know it's positive, positive. So I don't have to write that positive sign. So what is 5 times 6? Melina?
Is that over or
Oh, that is a great question. I did not point that out. When we think about our operations, a lot of times we think about those signs. We can write some of those signs in different ways. The adding and the subtracting, it's always adding and subtracting side. But my multiplication, I can write it as just a dot. Why do you think we would want to use a dot instead of an X? Any guess as we're getting into middle school math?
because it's less space?
Not that it's less space, James.
Because X can be used as an algebra number.
Yes, X can be used in algebra as a variable. Solve for X. So if we did something like X plus 2 equals 5, what would X be? 3. So we would say X equals 3. So it's easy to confuse the X with the multiply. So now that we're in big kid math, where we use letters and numbers, we're going to be using that dot, the bullet, means multiply. When we have parentheses, there's no operation in between our number and our parentheses. It means that we multiply. Same thing if we have if we had 5x, when there's no operation in between them, it means that we will multiply. 5 times what equals 10. So 5x equals 10. 5 times what equals 10? 2. So x would equal 2. So in algebra, when you see stuff right next to something, and you go, well, what am I supposed to do with that? What operation is that? It means you're multiplying. If you see the bullet, it means you're multiplying. When we divide, we can write division in different ways. We could use this division symbol. We can use that division symbol. We can use our fraction bar. 8 divided by 4. So if we look at a fraction, what that fraction is telling us is the numerator divided by the denominator. So there are different ways we will see multiplying and dividing. That was a great question. Jillian.
Can't you do the little star thingy?
Sometimes people do the bullet, and sometimes there'll be the asterisk. Usually people use the bullet. Usually not an asterisk. Usually it'll be a bullet. The asterisk is the little star. Yeah. It's not normally used, but I have seen some people use it. Melina. What is it?
30.
What?
30.
For which one?
6 times 5 times 6.
Yes. We're all the way back down here now. Now that we know the bullet means multiply, 5 times 6 is 30, and we already knew it was positive because we had a positive 5 and a positive 6. Let's look at our next one. Negative 8 times 3. So what I said we're going to do first is look at the signs. If I have a negative times a positive, what sign will my answer have, A and B? If I have a negative times a positive, what sign will my answer have? Will it have a positive or a negative? Because different signs means my answer is going to be negative. So before I even do my math, I'm going to put my symbol on there. So I don't forget. Super, super easy to do the math and forget to put the sign on there. Common mistake. So do the sign first so we don't forget it. Be in the habit of doing the sign first and then doing your math. So what is 8 times 3, Bennett? Yeah. 8 times 3 is 24, and we already knew the negative times a positive is a negative. It's the same thing. So when we get to a division problem, I'm going to look at my signs. I have a positive and a negative. Aiden, what sign is my answer going to be? If I have a positive and a negative. Negative, so I'm going to write that first. Then I have 56 divided by 7. What is 56 divided by 7, James?
8.
8.
Okay. It's just the same thing.
Yeah. Multiplying and dividing with those signs, positives and negatives, you get to the answer the same way. So up here in times or divide, times or divide, times or divide, it doesn't matter for multiplying or dividing. We look at our symbols. Are they different? Are they the same? Different are negative, sames are positive. So put your symbol on there and then do the math. Nolan.
Basically, just like the graph, but you have to try and work through the negative.
Yes, it is doing regular math that we've been doing for years now, and then adding the sign onto it. Okay, so it's just a step more than what we've been doing. Adding that sign on. Is it positive or negative? Matthew.
What about like 54 divided by negative? What about negative 54 divided by 9, like right there?
Yeah.
Like, would that just be what it is? But
Well, you would look to see negative divided by negative would be what sign for your answer?
Positive.
Yeah.
So
And then you do 54 divided by 9.
that's that simple.
Yeah, it is. I know it looks confusing because we go, oh my gosh, there's all these signs on there and this is new and scary. But it's really not. Okay? You just break it down to your steps. We're just adding in one more step than what you're used to. Shh. Question. I'll get to that.
What about negative 3 divided by negative 3? Is it the same thing? Just 3 divided by 3 and then add the...
So you look at your signs. My answer going to be positive or negative? And then you do your math. 3 divided by 3. So it's the sign that you figured out that it is, and then the answer that you figured out. And that's it. That's all you have to do. And if we look, it's just the one page. Okay, so for today, I don't want to sing and go, this is super easy. I got this. Because what happens when we think something is super easy, we rush and we make mistakes. We just saw from the correcting yesterday's assignment, even adults make those mistakes when we go too fast. Go slow and double check your work. Did I do it correctly? With that, I'm going to say to anybody watching at home, we hope you are well and we hope to see you soon. Have a good night.